Welcome in, guys, to Seahawks Today. I'm Meghan Payton. We've got lots of videos coming up this week for you. We've got mailbags. We've got a Saints Seahawks recap video coming right after tomorrow night's game. But if you are not subscribed yet, make sure you are. Go right now. Click that big red button. We are going to keep you updated all season long. As promised, we have answered your guys' mailbag questions. If you aren't aware of our mailbag show, we do this every week where we ask you guys, what do you want to know? You guys leave your questions in the comments, we answer them, and that's what we are doing on today's mailbag show. So let's get into it. First question coming in from Luke99. Any promising news on Dee Eskridge, and what game is he coming off the IR? So I wish, Luke, that we could have a more promising update, but right now there is not a clear update, and he is still getting tests. Pete Carroll was asked about him in a recent press conference. He essentially said, look, he's dealing with the concussion issue still. He's getting a lot of tests. He was actually out of town all this week getting further tests. And Dee Eskridge, it's just sad because, he dealt with that toe injury in the summer that really made him miss a lot of training camp. Finally, that heals. We get to see him back. He has that, kind of awful helmet-to-helmet collision, then obviously goes through concussion protocol, lingers on for a bit. Then before week 5, they decide, all right, we're going to put him on IR. Now, he would technically be eligible to return after this week. So after the Seahawks take on the Saints, he could be eligible to return for week 8 against the Jaguars. But I mean, honestly, it doesn't sound like there's anything promising to make us think that that could be the case. But of course, we will keep you updated on Dee Eskridge. But as of now, he is still getting tests and no plans to be activated. Bob Condata, who reports on the Seahawks, he tweeted out saying, Carroll said Dee Eskridge was out of the area this week, getting more tests done, and needs to wait to talk to him later to give more of a timeline. So no timeline for Eskridge right now. So again, like we said, he's getting tests done. So, I mean, pretty serious. Normally if you're dealing with a minor concussion, we normally see a guy back in maybe 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even less. This has obviously been a more extended, probably more serious issue that he is dealing with. But it's now time that I ask you guys, are you hopeful? Do you think Dee Eskridge is going to be back for week 8? It would obviously be nice, but I want to get your thoughts in. Type Y for yes if you think he's going to be back for Jacksonville, or type N for no if you don't see it happening. All right, next question coming in is from Patrick Starr. Hashtag Seahawks, will Alex Collins play Monday night? Now, this is a positive. Pete Carroll said Collins is ready to go. So, I mean, I don't know how else to take it. I think he's going to be playing Monday night. He was listed questionable on the injury report yesterday, but Pete Carroll saying that he thinks he's ready to go. I could see them, kind of limiting his reps just because obviously we know Rashad Penny is now activated off IR. He's going to be taking on probably that number 1 spot this week against the Saints. Chris Carson, as we know, still on IR. But I do expect, Pete Carroll's saying Alex Collins is ready to go. So I don't see why he would not be playing Monday night. But Rashad Penny, I do believe, is going to be the number 1 guy we will see Monday night. So it's hopeful. I'm hopeful that Rashad Penny is going to step up. We've talked about the injuries and kind of issues there have been with Penny. So I'm asking you guys, how many yards will Rashad Penny have? Go to the comments right now. Maybe you think he's going to rush for over 100 yards. Maybe you think it's going to be a little less. I have been iffy on Penny. I've said, before that he's a good guy, but at the same time, he's had so many injuries and we just haven't gotten to see what we'd like to out of him. So I'm hoping Monday night is a great night. He shows us what he can do and rushes for over 100 yards. But let us know what you think in the comments. All right, next up, we've got Russ is cooking 12. Hashtag Seahawks, time to fire Pete Carroll. And all right, guys. I know that this is a topic that gets brought up. Him and Kid Norton Jr., I feel like, get associated a lot together, which makes sense. But I don't agree with this. I don't see Pete Carroll getting fired. Now, I understand the concern. You look at your record right now, you look at the division, you look at what's happening in the next few weeks. How are you going to be able to be playoff contenders? So I get the concern, but I just don't think that Pete Carroll leaving Seattle is the right answer. By the way, that would be a little bit tricky to do from a PR standpoint, from just everything that Pete Carroll has done for the Seahawks. We have to remember he's a winning coach. He's a winning coach who is also without Russell Wilson right now. So I'm not trying to defend all of the losses, but that's a big deal. You've got your star quarterback, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL to ever play. He's not playing right now. So, give Pete Carroll a little bit of a break. You're also in a very competitive division, and there's still a lot of weeks left. So it's easy right now to see, hey, we've only, won 2 games. This isn't going great. And I get the concern, but things change. We've seen many teams over the years start off a little bit weaker and then everything flips and, now they're sitting in the top spot. So I think while we look into the Seahawks, like next 5 weeks, this to me is going to be really what determines the Seahawks possibility in making the playoffs, because they are in a very competitive division. Obviously, this Monday night game against the Saints tomorrow, that is a huge game for the Seahawks. Then they are going to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hopefully should be a little bit of an easier game there. Then everyone gets to rest. Obviously, we are hoping that Russell Wilson is back for that Green Bay game, because that is going to be one of their hardest games of this season. And then, unfortunately, they go right into Arizona Cardinals, which we know that they are doing very well. So I'm going to say that these next 5 games are key. And I know that's kind of general, but they have to win at least 3 to 4 of these to be playoff contenders. I want you guys right now, though, predict the Seahawks record. It's going to determine what happens with Russell. When is he back? When's Chris Carson back? But give me your early predictions. Go down to the comments right now and let us know. Moving on to our next question. That is from Rico Hunter. Seahawks better keep an eye on that Jason Hill guy. He's like a fullback playing some quarterback. All right, Rico, I'm sorry to be that person, but it's Taysom Hill. I'm assuming that's who you're talking about. But good news for Seahawks fans. Taysom Hill is not going to be playing Monday night. He was ruled out. He also dealing with concussion protocols, going through all of that. He had gotten hurt in the Washington game back before their bye week. So you do not have to worry about Taysom Hill. Now he is obviously a guy that can make it very difficult for opposing defenses, so it is a positive for Seattle. Next up, coming in from Gino Truther. Do you think LJ Collier will be traded? Now, we've talked about this before. If you haven't seen our trade videos, make sure and you go check them out. We actually talked about it the other day. I do think that it's going to happen because we've said before, he's been a healthy scratch for the Seahawks. So it could happen, but I don't think they're going to get much for him. He hasn't been playing much. The Seahawks really aren't using him. And so I see the whole point why you'd want to get rid of him and give him, maybe a better option with another team that would utilize him more. Now, I just don't think the Seahawks are going to get much in return. But in 2020, we do have to say he did decent. He had 22 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 0 forced fumbles. But this guy was a round 1 pick out of TCU. He went 29th overall. So it's hard when you see guys like this that you expect to be really dominant, kind of not get the playing time that they maybe deserve or maybe don't deserve. But this is someone that ultimately, whether the Seahawks can use him and they aren't using him, or really they just don't have a place for him, it doesn't matter. He's not getting the playing time in Seattle. So you might as well see what you can get for him. That's my opinion. Again, though, as the trade deadline approaches, which is November 2nd, we promise we are going to keep you updated with all of the Seahawks trade rumors. And again, I told you we are going to have a game recap coming for you guys right after tomorrow's Monday night game. Make sure you are subscribed.